Ba-da, ba-da, boo. The following program is rated PG. The content is the sole responsibility of Alfred Roach and is not meant as a reflection of the Lakeshore Disability Network, its affiliates, or its employees.
Here's an amazing act. Here's a tremendous act. Here's a startling act. The amazing, the thrilling, the greatest, spectacular, incredible, exciting, wonderful, world fame, most unusual novelty act.
It's time. Good morning, viewer friends. It's 5:01. My name is Red Kingman. Welcome to the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. For this Wednesday, November 13th, 2013. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week, and right over there is the weekend, and I think it's going to have a little sunshine in it, but it's going to be cold as well, so coming up on this morning's show, I'll play a few Christmas songs, but I'm not going to get crazy about it. Of course, I'll be playing the greatest hits of all time. In this 5 o'clock hour, it's politics. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the Affordable Health Care Act and hear what some people are saying about it. But there's another issue on the table, and that is a nuclear treaty with Iran. And I'm going to see what the guys from Trifecta have to say from PJTV. They were wondering, was the Affordable Health Care Act designed to fail? Yeah, that question seems to be going around in circles these days. There's something else going around in circles, homosexual rights. And this morning, I'll be joined on the telephone by Pastor David Guerin. He's the pastor of Manna Church. And this morning, he will talk with us about the Zealand Declaration and the accompanying homosexual statement. Both are quite provocative and sure to raise the ire of some folks. That's what's happening this morning here in the internet world of Red's Place. And we're going to start things off this morning with music by the Isley Brothers. Again, one of those songs that you just didn't probably hear on the pop radio stations, although on the soul stations, on the soul charts, it was a hit. The title of this song is You're Beside Me. The Isley Brothers, man, they're great ballad singers. Anyway, here they are in Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network.
When I need a reason Right now you know the way you got me feeling. No, you're not alone. Don't think I wanna be gone, 'cause my thoughts always stay with you. There's no need to be sad. You know where my head is at, and my heart always stays with you. When I feel kinda lonely, when I need a reason to smile, you're beside me, you're everywhere I go. Most of all, you stay in my mind. You're beside me, you're everywhere, here with me wherever I go. Singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song.
Yo, this is Wyclef, Refugee Cat, Criswell, Little Bass sitting up here on the bass. While I'm on this road, I got my girl L. One time, hey yo L, you know you got the lyrics.
I heard he sang a good song. I heard he had a style, and so I came to see him and listen for a while. And there he was, this young boy, stranger to my eyes, strumming my pain with his fingers,
One time,
singing my life with his words,
two times,
killing me softly with this song, killing me softly with this song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. I felt all flushed with fever, embarrassed by the crowd. I felt he found my letters and read each one out loud. I prayed that he would finish, but he just kept right on, strumming my pain with his fingers,
one
Yes, there they are. The group called the Fugees, with lead singer Lauryn Hill, and their rendition of the Roberta Flack song, Killing Me Softly. Really nice tune there. And I think we're on tap for a really nice day, albeit freezing. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cold. We'll take a look at the Weather Almanac and Holland's Hometown Forecast in just a moment. But first, a little something from Alive and Kickin'. Yeah, it's called Tighter and Tighter here in the Internet World of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. The time, 5:13. Yes, from the 1970s, the group Alive and Kickin', and the song Tighter, Tighter, here in the Internet World of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. And I see that today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2013. It's the, 317th day of the year. Only 48 days left in our year. Where did it go?
Someone stole the kishka.
The average high temperature on this date is 50 degrees. The average low temp, 37. Today, we're looking for highs near 40. Yesterday's high temp, somewhat near 40 at 35 degrees. The overnight low, it was variable in the upper 20s to the low 30s. And I see that the record high for the Lakeshore was set on this date back in 2011, and that was just 66 degrees. Now, we were probably thinking Indian summer. I don't think we're going to get one this year. But we will get a barometric pressure today, right now, of 30.48. That's giving us 64% humidity. The winds are out of the west at 9 miles per hour, driving that wind chill of 23 degrees. The visibility on the area roads is perfect, so you don't have any worries there. And I think that overall it's going to be nice. So let's go ahead and take a look at Holland's Tulip City forecast from weather.com, where we find today sunshine. Yes, with a high near 40. Look for breezy conditions as well. We could see winds gusting as high as 32 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 30. Tomorrow, look for sunshine and a high of 47. Friday, we'll begin the weekend with partly sunny skies with a high in the upper 40s. And for Saturday, cloudy skies to begin with, 40% chance of rain. But by the afternoon, we should have partly sunny skies and look for a high near 54. That's nice for Saturday. Right now, in the Tulip City, it's 31 degrees. Remember, if you want the latest forecast, you can find that at weather.com. We'll keep listening to the program here because, every 10 to 15 minutes, I will check the weather. And let's go ahead and see what the temperature is over in Zeeland. That's our neighbors to the east. All right. With the staccato music playing there. 29 degrees now in Zeeland. All right, and there is your weather. 5:18 is the time, and yes, I've got more music, but I also have something I want to share with you. Like I said, there's been continuing talk about the Affordable Health Care Act. And some people are starting to wonder, they've asked the question, was this law designed to fail? Was it designed to actually force people off their insurance and force them onto the marketplace and the exchanges and everything? It certainly seems that way when you think about the language that is in the Affordable Health Care Act. And it's funny, they passed the bill, then they told us then we could find out what was in it, and little by little we're finding out. I mean, this is a behemoth of a law with thousands and thousands of pages, but little by little information is coming out. Like if your insurer changes the policy in any way, shape, or form, that will disqualify them, and you will have to go onto the exchange. Do you know they're estimating that some 52 million Americans could lose their health insurance as a result of the Affordable Health Care Act? Even though the president told us, and we now know that it was a lie, it was he misled us, telling us that we'd be able to keep our doctors, we'd be able to keep our plans. Well, we're finding out now that's not the truth. So far, about 4.2 million people have lost their coverage. So the guys from Trifecta, that would be Bill Whittle, Scott Ott, and Stephen Green, they tackled this, and I'd like to hear what their expert commentary says. Obamacare was designed to fail, or was it? Oh, no, it's going to be like that.
America's chickens are coming home to roost. For Obamacare supporters, I'm Steve Green. This is Trifecta. Let's bring on Bill Whittle and Scott Ott and try not to gloat too terribly much. A couple of stories grabbed my eye this week. In the first one, a former aide to former Illinois Democrat Congressman Bill Foster, well, she lost her coverage. Her name is Sue Klinkhamer. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. And she told the Chicago Sun-Times, this is a quote, "I spent 2 years defending Obamacare. I had constituents scream at me, spit at me, and call me names that I couldn't put in print. But she just found out that her old plan has been canceled, and her new health insurance not only costs more, her deductible has doubled." Then, in the LA Times on Monday, Pam Cahaley of Blue Cross said she had to tell one of her customers that she was facing a 50% rate hike that she simply couldn't afford. And then her customer told her, again, this is a quote, "I was all for Obamacare until I found out I was paying for it." Now, this, of course, comes on the heels of a story we talked about a couple of weeks ago when Cindy Vinson, a self-described big believer of the ACA and an Obama volunteer, she told the San Jose Mercury News, "Of course I want people to have health care. I just didn't realize I would be the one who was going to pay for it personally." Now, Bill, they say a conservative is a liberal who's been mugged by reality, so how do we bring these folks into the fold?
I've been saying this for a couple years now, and this is why I think this business about the Republicans fighting this catastrophe and lose. Look, if you can fight Obamacare and win, that's a win. But if it looks like it's going to be implemented anyway, and there's really nothing you can do about it, I've been saying this at least for a year since the election, Steve. The American people voted for their socialism, and now let them have a taste of it. Let them get a taste of it. Barack Obama's entire election and the Democratic strategy, all of this, is to pillage a capitalist system for their socialist gains. And now the American people have been so completely brainwashed into this idea that you can get something for nothing. Why wouldn't you vote for it? I've said this before, too. If health care were actually free, I'd be a liberal on this issue. Who wouldn't be a liberal on this issue if healthcare didn't cost anything? Why would you withhold it from people? But it does cost stuff, and the government cannot generate wealth. It can only print money, which reduces the wealth of everybody else. Once people begin to understand that if we're going to take on 30 million new people, somebody's going to have to pay for it, and the person who's going to have to pay for it, if we're taking them on for free, is you. And the greatest comment ever about healthcare goes back to the guy who really brought me into conservatism, which is P.G. O'Rourke, who famously said, "If you think healthcare is expensive now, wait till you find out how much it costs when it's free."
I mean, come on. That's just a wonderful, wonderful statement. The American people, and not all American people, clearly, but a great majority just fell right into that belief that healthcare is going to be free, like it is in Europe. And it's just amazing that adults fell for that. What is the old saying? If something seems too good to be true, it usually is too good to be true.
Yeah, it's one of the great quotes. And Bill, I'm so with you on the strategy. I've been calling it "let it burn" for about the same time you have, about a year now. And boy, the flames are they're starting to grow everywhere. All right, let's talk to a real American, and I do mean a real American, about his own personal experience. Scott, you've been buying your health insurance on the open market. Have you received a cancellation notice? What's happened to your plan?
We've actually received 2 cancellation notices. My wife and I had separate policies because of a peculiar health situation, and her policy was canceled and is gone as of the beginning of November. And then we got a letter from my insurance company that said my policy was canceled. If I wanted to, it said, I could re-up it in December and sort of get grandfathered in before the change happened in January, and for another year have the same policy, but it would be $50 a month more, which is, a substantial amount of money in the odd household. But then it said if you don't re-up for a year and you want to go into the plan that's going to be under the Affordable Care Act, your policy will cost twice as much, and the deductible will be much higher. Now, I didn't get any pricing information, by the way, from healthcare.gov, despite 2 weeks of daily multiple attempts to log into the site. I've now been apparently blacklisted, banned from the site. I'm in their spam filter. I'm not allowed to access any information from my own government. But now I'm in a situation where they want me to pay enough more for my health care next year that I could literally buy a house in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and make the payments.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm sure that there are some folks out there who have found a better deal on the exchange. Let's be fair. Surely everyone is not experiencing the negativity that a lot are. But I think the majority of people are finding it difficult. And the majority of people are finding that they're losing their own coverage. They get their letter of cancellation. They're finding that they're going to be paying more on the exchange than what they were paying. And, of course, if you decide that you don't want to pay, well, there's a penalty. I like what Bill Whittle said. The government does not create wealth. That's not what they're there for, although this particular administration seems to feel like they need to take that responsibility on. No. And I also like what he said, the fact that the government just prints money. What that does is it devalues the money that's in my pocket and your pocket right now. I mean, it's just funny to me. There's so much going on around us, supposedly for us, but really about us. That's what I see.
It is insane, and this is where, Republicans are always beaten up for being people of rigid principles. Well, the problem with principles and with not having principles is that eventually what principles you have that you don't acknowledge turn into policy, and that affects people, and actual people are getting hurt by this. I'm not upset because I'm getting hurt by it. I just think how many millions more are going through the same kind of turmoil in their lives, and it didn't have to happen.
And it doesn't have to happen. And I'm telling you, I still feel that, I don't know where this feeling came from. I'm sure I read something and it sparked an idea. But I think what I had read was someone commenting on the possibility that they knew that this healthcare plan, this law, was going to be a boondoggle. And so you get it out there with all of its problems and all of its hiccups and all of its roadblocks, and when people are just so frustrated and at the end of their rope, you then pull out from that another plan. Now we've got it all together. Here is what it's going to be. Since we already have the law in place and you can't change it, It's like right now they're screwing it down tight and making sure that the Republicans can't defund it, can't do anything to it. And when they know that the last bolt is tight, then they're going to open this little magic door and pull out this other law. Oh, well, this is really what it's all about from within. I hope I'm wrong. I do. I hope this is just paranoia running amok. I'd like to hear in months down the road that none of this was true, and that the Affordable Health Care Act and the website and everything coalesced, came together, and everything's great. That's what I'm hopeful of. I don't believe that's going to happen, though. And I certainly hope that this paranoid thought of mine, a plan within a plan, doesn't come to fruition. But things certainly do seem dire, to say the least.
Can you imagine that, Scott? The IRS has access to your health insurance data, and you don't. What a situation we've gotten ourselves into. Good Lord. Folks, there's a lot of talk that Obamacare was designed to fail in order to usher in single payer, and I won't say that might not be true, but I have an even scarier prospect.
There it is.
These Obamacare supporters faced with the...
There it is. There it is. He just said what I was saying, a lot better than me. This whole thing, the Affordable Health Care Act, could be a ploy to usher in that single payer.
Sticker shock of premiums going up 50%, 100%, or even 10 times higher. The political appointees at Health and Human Services who thought they could build the world's most complicated website in a period of just months. The bureaucrats who wrote 20,000 pages of regulations in an effort to save money. The folks in the media who didn't report until just this week that outlawed insurance plans would cease to exist. The House Speaker who said they had to pass it to see what's in it. The Senate Majority Leader who cobbled together the 2,000-page law in secret backroom deals. The President who put his name on it. Maybe the most frightening prospect of all is
this is good.
They really thought it would work. Think about that. For Scott Ott and Bill Whittle, I'm Steve Green.
That's real good. Maybe they really, truly thought it would work. I don't believe that for a second, but then that's just my opinion. What is yours? How can you share your opinion, you wonder? Well, there is a way. All you have to do is join the conversation on Facebook. If you aren't my friend there, please, I encourage you to send a friend request to Red Kingman. You can chat there. There's also a chat room that is connected to this live broadcast at Ustream. Just go there, follow the link, sign up, and you can chat right there. And in fact, let me see if there's anyone in the chat room. It's a little early, I realize. No. I see no one in the chat room yet. And as far as Facebook is concerned, we got no comments either. All right. 5:30 is the time. And what say we take a quick look at Holland's Tulip City forecast for this Wednesday. Looks like we're in for some clear skies, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Okay, for today, mostly sunny skies with a high right around 47 degrees. I'm going to call that almost 50. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 30. And for Thursday, tomorrow, we'll have more sunshine and a high of 47 degrees. It is still 31 here in Holland and over in Zeeland. I don't know where I got that from. That whole thing disappeared. 31 in Holland, and in Zeeland, did I say? Yeah, 28 degrees in Zeeland. I don't know what's going on with my weather music today. It's a little shifty there. Anyway, if you want the latest forecast, keep listening to the program. Every 10 to 15 minutes, I will check it. And speaking of checking, everyone seems to be talking a lot about the Affordable Health Care Act and the problems associated. But there are still other items or issues on the table, one of which I don't want you to forget about, ever, is Benghazi. Benghazi. Okay, don't forget that. And then the other is talk about Iran, nuclear, and deals. These three words, I don't really like them going together, but apparently there is some talk with the United Nations and other nations there about trying to strike some deal with Iran because they want to expand their nuclear program. There was an all-star panel on Fox News with Bret Baier, Charles Krauthammer, A.B. Stoddard, and Steve Hayes. For about 4 minutes, they talked about this, and I'd like to hear what the conversation was.
In Geneva, it was said to be a deal in the making with Iran, the P5+1, plus Iran on a nuclear arms deal. It kind of fell apart. It's still in negotiations, but it's said that France wanted tougher terms for Iran. We're back with the panel. Steve, there's different reporting about this. Secretary Kerry says Iran stepped away from the table. The bottom line is the deal, the big deal, is not done yet.
Well, that's good news for pretty much everybody. I mean, it's the stories about how this actually came to be or came not to be are fascinating, where you have one report in The Guardian today with the French foreign minister hurrying to sort of intervene before the United States and Iran could agree on a bad deal, and then making his case and ultimately persuading Secretary Kerry. But, you know, look, the French deserve credit for leading on this. It's not what I would have predicted at the beginning of these talks. It's very clear that Israel is deeply concerned. I don't think that this is new. When you look at the statement that Prime Minister Netanyahu made last Friday, it was a scathing denunciation of this would-be deal, delivered, it should be noted, in English, I think for a reason. The kind of talk we really haven't heard from them. But if you go back to his meeting at the White House and then the speech that he gave at the United Nations a short time later, it's very clear that he thinks that Israel is on its own.
And Congress seems like it's anxious in a bipartisan way to get involved in these discussions, possibly.
This is true. Washington does seem to be interested, and I'm telling you, it's a quiet negotiation that's going on. But at issue, Iran and the USA trade blame over failed deal to limit Tehran's uranium enrichment for sanctions relief. So they're trying to work out a deal, relieve some of the sanctions, and I guess allow Tehran's uranium enrichment to continue. I guess the thing that I find most interesting about that is despite all the sanctions by the United States, by the UN, Iran was able to build a nuclear program. So to me, sanctions seem to be a waste of time, a useless waste of time, because people can still do what they need to do. So when I see the word, you know, to limit Tehran's uranium enrichment for sanctions relief, I'm thinking that, what's the game there? We had sanctions against North Korea. They were isolated from the world except for their communist friends, and they were still able to build a nuclear program, missiles, delivery systems. So, I don't know. That's a tough one. You know, every country is sovereign and should be able to do what they want, but then you've got countries that want to see other nations annihilated. So what do? You know, you can't stand around and say do what you want, but at the same time, you know, you don't have the right to, I don't know, curtail their actions. So it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one, and maybe the best place for it is in the UN, on the world stage. And then the last thing that I want to share with you this morning here at 5:36, until I come across something else, a syndicated columnist, Charles Krauthammer, he thinks that with the things that we're seeing going on, we could be looking at the collapse of American liberalism. And I, for one, would like to see that, but I just don't think it's going to happen, because there's pockets of liberalism out there that under times of stress, when the party is under stress, talking about the Democrats, they, like water, seem to come together. So I'm not sure if that's the case, but let's see what Charles says.
Now, the top story tonight, let's bring on...
He's on the O'Reilly Factor with Bill O'Reilly.
The Rhino, Charles Krauthammer. I don't think you're a traitor like me, but you're a rhino, and you know it, don't you?
As Brit Hume says, I'm a rhino in name only, which means I'm in a new category. We're going to call ourselves hippos. And
HIPPO stands for?
I don't know. I just made that up.
But you can get it in an acronym. Hippo, hypocrisy.
Exactly.
You can do it.
It's got all the resonance.
Yeah, it's got all the letters, the proper letters.
Look, I think this whole thing is, as you say, very much blown up by the liberal media because it's a great dramatic story. But here's the fundamental contradiction. I think this analysis is wrong. It's fundamentally wrong for this reason. The difference between what are being called the hard right and the moderates, the rhinos and the true believers, is really one over tactics rather than over ideology and objectives. Let me give you one example. Is there a disagreement, a fundamental disagreement between one faction and the other over, let us say, Paul Ryan's radical reform of Medicare? I would say no. What we're talking about is whether it was a good idea to shut down the government, whether it's a good idea to adopt a tactic here, a tactic there. On objectives, you tell me what is the fundamental difference between the so-called moderates and radicals.
Okay.
I don't see it.
But it doesn't matter.
Let me just say one thing.
Go ahead.
We all agree on limited government. We all agree on a restoration of individual rights. We all agree on liberty being the central ideal. We all agree on the restoration of individual responsibility and initiative.
That's true.
So there's a big difference.
No, but that's true that there isn't a lot of philosophical difference, but there is in play an intractable, I don't want to call it hatred, but bitterness, best word. And you hear it on talk radio. You hear it. Yeah, I'm not compromising my principles, and these rhinos like McCain or whatever. Listen to Sarah Palin talk about Chris Christie. Roll the tape.
Oh, man.
Hillary Clinton was mistreated when it came to appearances, when it came to wardrobe, you know, petty, superficial things that the men don't ever seem to hear much about. But
well, that's not true, because they really got on Chris Christie about his weight, and they still talk about it, although albeit in whispers. Anyway, could we be looking at the collapse of American liberalism? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. If anything, it might be gaining some momentum, which, of course, I hope that's not the case. All righty. 5:39 is the time. Listening to all this talk, you know, how things go in Washington, D.C., the deceptions, the lies, it just reminds me of this song from, let me think, when did that come out? I think it was 1971. The group was called Undisputed Truth, and the song was Smiling Faces. Smiling faces sometimes pretend to be your friend. Smiling faces show no traces of the evil that lurks within. Doesn't that sound a lot like the process up there in Washington, D.C., like we were told about the Affordable Health Care Act and how we'd be able to keep our plans and our doctors? Those smiling faces. Here's the Undisputed Truth in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. We'll take a look at Holland's Tulip City forecast in just a moment.
Smiling faces sometimes pretend to be your friend. Smiling faces show no traces of the evil that lurks within. Smiling faces sometimes they don't tell the truth. Smiling faces tell lies, and I got proof. Oh Lord, yeah. Sometimes they don't tell the truth. Smiling faces tell lies, and I got proof. Beware of the handshake that hides the snare. I'm telling you, beware of the pat on the back. It just might hold you back. Jealousy, misery, envy. I tell you can't see behind smiling faces sometimes. Hey, they don't tell the truth. Smiling faces
1 1 2 3 1 3. One, 2 3 1 3. November 23rd, 2013. Write that date down on your calendars. 1 1 2 3 13. That is the day that the Morning Grind with Mike Johnson and yours truly, Red Kingman, returns to terrestrial radio. Hey, wait a minute. I actually have an echo here. 1 1 2 3 13. The return of the Morning Grind to terrestrial radio on Cozy 103.7 FM radio. That's right. Okay, stop it. Cut it. Stop it. Yeah. November 23rd, 2013. Mike Johnson, that's Mike Johnson, and yours truly, Red Kingman. The stars of the show, The Morning Grind, will return to terrestrial radio. Yes. The Sentinel had a story about that over the weekend. They called me on Friday. I don't know where they got the word from, but they asked me, Red, are you going back on the air? And I just had to make sure everyone understood. Hold on. There are no people beating down my door trying to, hire me for their radio stations. What you're finding here, as far as full-time work is concerned, most people are just staying put. They've taken a look at the economy and thought, man, while I'd like to get to a larger station, a bigger city to make more money, the job opportunities don't really seem to be there, so I'll just stay put. That's what yours truly, Red Kingman, did. That's why I was at WHTC for 9.5 years. Because I looked out there in the radio landscape and I thought things aren't looking too good, so I better just stay put. But I think that inside of me there was this desire to want to try to better myself. I mean, I stayed there for 9.5 years and never received a raise. And so I certainly want to, improve my lot in life financially. And I'd like to maybe have a challenge, being in a radio market where there are other radio stations where you actually have to compete. That would be fun. That would be a challenge. And so, while I'm not going back to radio full-time, through Mike Johnson's efforts, he got the Morning Grind back on the air. As I said, we'll be on Cozy 103.7 out of South Haven. The signal does reach here in Holland, and in fact, it goes all the way to the Indiana border and as far east as Battle Creek. So it's a really big footprint, if you will, as far as the signal is concerned. So we'll be heard over a larger area than we were on the van, a bigger signal. Bigger audience, and we're really looking forward to it, and I'm very happy, yes, of course, to be returning to terrestrial radio, because who knows, in God's great scheme of things, it could be that I'll get a job offer from being on the Morning Grind. Someone will hear somewhere, and who knows? I just don't know. For right now, I'm very, very happy hosting my program the way I want here on the Internet, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursday evenings. So it's all good. So when the Lord is ready to open that door and have me move from here to there, believe me, I will let you know. But for now, you can catch me and Mike Johnson Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. until 8:30 on Cozy 103.7. That is the new home for the Morning Grind. And that's a cool little show that Mike and I do out of Saugatuck. In fact, we do it live from the Annex Coffee Shop. Mike owns that. And it's a real fun atmosphere. If you've never seen a broadcast live, you should come down some Saturday morning, get some coffee, get yourself a little cinnamon roll, and then sit out there in the audience and watch us and listen to us do the program. It's going to be a blast. So that's what's coming up. That was the reason for the 2001 Space Odyssey music and the echo. And I'll go out with this one more time. It's 5:48. 1 1 2 3 2013. The return of the morning grind with Mike Johnson and Red Kingman to terrestrial radio. We'll broadcast live on 103.7 Cozy FM. All right, knock it off. All right. 5:49 now, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe what we should do. Oh, no. All right, hold on. Because I was having a problem with that weather music. You remember that? So, let's see what we have here. All right, we'll use this as our weather bed for now. We're going to take a look at Holland's Tulip City forecast from weather.com. Give me 1 second here. That's a great little tune in the background. A friend of mine, Mike Christensen, he and I used to send cassette tapes back and forth to each other in the 80s. And this was some of the music that he used when he would send his tapes to me. Of course, I borrowed it because I loved it so much. And I'm using it now for the weather forecast. Okay, for today, it's going to be sunny, but not warm. We'll have a high right around 40 degrees, and it's going to be breezy today. Look for winds gusting as high as 32 miles an hour. Tonight, we'll have mostly clear skies with a low around 30. The breezes will continue. Thursday, sunny with a high near 47, again with the breezes, gusts in the low 30-mile-an-hour range. And for Friday, we'll begin the weekend with partly sunny skies and a high right around 47. Currently in the Tulip City, it's 31 degrees, and over in Zeeland, 28 under mostly clear skies. Remember, if you ever need the latest forecast, keep listening to the program. I check it every 10 to 15 minutes, or just log on to weather.com. Yeah, I think that's going to be my new weather music. I like that a lot. All right, let's get back to the real music. Have you ever heard of a group called Maze? Yeah, their lead singer, his name is Frankie Beverly. Now, what you've been finding here in the internet world of Red's Place is that I'm playing music and trying to, educate you, if you will, shed some light on the musical artists that you're listening to. Now, Frankie Beverly and Maze, they hit the scene in the mid-'70s. And while their music really didn't cross over to the pop charts, they enjoyed a great deal of success on the soul charts. Ask anyone who listens to soul music, and they'll say, Frankie Beverly and Maze? Oh, yeah, I know them. Well, this is the song that got me hooked on them. This comes from 1976. The name of the tune is called Before I Let Go. And you're hearing it in Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. The time is 5:51.
You can bear. You can't understand it. No. Where did we go wrong? I'm gonna be happy, girl. I've got to know. I gotta make sure I'm right before I let go.
Frankie Beverly and Maze. I love them. I really do. I'm going to play some more Maze this morning for you just so you can get an understanding as to why I like them so much.
Under $200 on Craigslist, only to find thousands of dollars hidden inside. That's exactly what happened to a New Haven couple. A local rabbi and his wife found a huge pile of cash after buying this desk on Craigslist.
Oh, what a great story. I'm glad that didn't happen to me. Because honestly, now here's the story. This is what you just heard. A U.S. rabbi bought a desk on Craigslist only to find a bag inside stuffed with about $98,000. It was actually hidden. Rabbi Noach Muroff of New Haven, Connecticut, returned the money to the rightful owner of the $200 desk. He and his wife found the money when they had to take it apart as it wouldn't fit through their office door. So they had to take off pieces of it so it would fit through. And then when they were doing that, the guy says, the desk did not fit into the office by a fraction of an inch. Behind the drawers, there was this plastic bag, like a shopping bag. We opened it up, and it's full of cash. We decided to count it. And there's $98,000 worth of cash sitting in the bag. That's funny. So, yeah, they were honest, and it was nice that they returned it. But you notice that they had to count it first. They didn't just go, ooh, we found a bag of cash. Let's return it to the rightful owner. No, they went, look, we found a bag of cash. We should return it to the rightful owner after we count it. I wonder why did they count it? If there was less money than $98,000, would they have kept it? Was that the determining factor? Honey, if there's more than $50,000 in here, we're going to return it. But if it's like $28,000, it's ours. I got to be honest with you. And I'm being honest here. I would have been hard-pressed to give that money back. Because in my mind, it's like that finders, keepers, losers, weepers kind of thing. I know that sounds mean, but I'm thinking, you have a desk. You want to get rid of it. You put it on Craigslist. I call you. I give you the money for the desk. It now is my desk. I own the desk and everything that goes with it. I get the desk home. It won't fit in my door. I take off some legs, open a drawer. Voila, I found a bag with how much did it say? $98,000 in it. All right, let me think. Yeah, it's easy to say, oh, I keep the money, but now I'm thinking, could have been somebody's nest egg. Well, then why didn't they pay more attention to it? How could you forget that you've got $98,000 stuffed into... Maybe this is what I would do, because I wouldn't want to just rip somebody off. Perhaps I'd call the seller and, say something like, let's see, do I have I wonder if I have a sound effect that will give me the phone thing. Let's see. Test, test, test. No, that's not the phone. Test. No, 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 no. Hello, no, no. Hello, no. There we go. No. There, no. There, no. There, there. All right. It's not going to work out. All right, stop. So anyway, I would call them up and say something like, excuse me, yeah, this is Mr. Kingman. I'm the guy that just bought that desk from you 24 hours ago. How's it going? Everything going well? No problems? Your family's doing well and everything? Okay, yeah. So about that desk, it's a really good desk. I really appreciate you selling me that. Are you sure that because I just want to make sure, it's such a nice desk. I just want to make sure that you really wanted to sell that desk. I'm giving you an opportunity right now to get the desk back because it's so nice. And I'm just thinking, if you really want it and everything that goes with it, wink, wink, it's yours. I'll give it back to you. You just give me my money and it's yours. What's that? You don't want the desk back? You're sick of the desk? That's why you put it on Craigslist, because you just wanted it out of your house? Interesting. Interesting. Now, you made sure that you got everything out of the desk, right? Because I don't want to, come across something and then, I got to get, you made sure that everything was out of the desk. You're absolutely sure. So if I were to find, I don't know, a sack of money in there, that would, what's that you say? If I find a sack of money, I don't know. How would you play that? Maybe that's a question I should put on my Facebook page and see what my friends would do. And I mean, would they answer honestly? Come on now. I'm just being honest. If I found a bag, $98,000, look, could I just keep $10,000 and then call them up and go, hey, look, I found a bag of money in your thing? No, because that'd be dishonest, because then I have to say, there was $88,000 in there. There was actually $98,000, but I took $10,000 for myself. Oh, this is a hard one. I think really what I would do is if I found if I bought a desk and there was a bag in there that had $98,000, maybe I wouldn't tell anybody. Maybe I would just be quiet. Maybe I would just come and do my show, but then, see, the guilt would rack me, and I know that God would know. This is a real tough one. I think the best thing to do is just to give the money back and then hope that they'll give me a reward. I mean, come on, $98,000, surely you can give up, $10,000, $15,000, man. Really? I guess I should just be happy with whatever. If they decided to just give me a $50, reward. Here's $50, young man, for returning my $98,000 nest egg. I should be happy with that, because before I had nothing, and now at least I have something. Let's start off this 6 o'clock hour here in Red's Place with some music from the Marshall Tucker Band. They heard it in a love song here in Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network.
If I ever settle down
Yes, from country rock to hard funk. This is the Internet World of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. Here's the group Lakeside and Fantastic Voyage.
Hey, come along, take the ride. There's a party over there that ain't no job. It's live, it's all the way live. Don't even have to walk, don't even have to drive. It's slide, slip it, slide. Just forget about the trouble in your 9 to 5 and just sail along. That's what you do, just sail along. Now the zoo's so funky, hey, what do you think? What is it called? It's called the Lakeside Stank. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage.
Test. Test. Test, test, test. 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 Test, test. Test, test, test. Test. Okay. So, no one is hearing me, and why is that? Back to the control panel, hardware and sound, that's the active mic is not there, USB, yeah, that's there, it's there. What is going on? All right, test, test, testing, 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 test, test. Test, 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 test. Okay. Test, test, test. Okay, I think we got the volume back. That was Diane Lowe letting me know that the volume had somehow left me. All right. I'm asking her if she can hear me now. I want to make sure that we got the volume back before I start this song. 6:20 is the time. 31 degrees here in the Tulip City. She says no. Still no. What is the dang problem, man? You're not... All right. Is anyone else having this problem? Diane says she can't hear me. All right, let's go to the chat room here and see what we can see. Okay, we're having some issue here with the sound. I'm not exactly sure why. Hello, hello. Test, test, test. All right, how about now? So, now. How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? Still trying to... You can't hear me? All right, let's see. Test, 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 test. It's showing me that it's on. I hear me, but you don't. Okay, just lost your red. Still waiting to see. Test, test, test. Do you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Anybody? Anyone? Oh, you can hear me. Okay, so we're back. Wonderful. Wonderful. Sorry about that. What I was doing was... Oh, and Diane is going to be joining me. I'll be calling her this morning. You can hear me, right? 7:15, Diane? That's when we'll... let me make sure about that. All right, just want to make sure that she and I are talking at 7:15. While I await her answer, let me let you listen to this song. It's from Ray Parker Jr. It reminds me of the 1980s when I was at Fort Riley, Kansas, with 1 year to go of military service, and then I was going to be heading back home to an uncertain future. But when this song came out, I knew exactly what I was doing. I was a corporal in the U.S. Army enjoying Ray Parker Jr. and the song You Can't Change That, here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network.
Honey, I'll always love you. I promise to always love you. 'Cause I think the whole world of you, and you can't change that. No, no. There's nothing you can do or say. I thought about this for many a day, and my mind's made up to feel this way, and you can't change that. You're the only one I love, and you can't change that. You're the only one I need, and you can't change that. You're the one I love. You're the only one I love, and you can't change that. You're the only one I
Oh, my goodness. That might be the feel-good song of the morning. Ray Parker Jr. and his group Radio and the song You Can't Change That. Yeah, nice little tune there. So, I had a little audio difficulty there, and I'm wondering if people were able to hear the story that I told about the rabbi. Diane, let's see, if they heard the story about the rabbi who found $98,000 in a desk that he bought on Craigslist, and he returned the money. So I'm just curious if you heard that story. If you did, then I'm not going to tell it again. And if you didn't, well, I'll be more than happy to share it again. Right now I want to share something with you which I am finding repulsive. Yeah. And you know, when they do advertising, lest you believe that someone creates a commercial and it's played all over the country, that's not the way it goes. These marketers are so focused, they'll create specific ads for specific target groups for specific parts of the country. Now, you tell me if you've seen any of these Got Insurance ads. Let me just read this. It's from Infowars.com. The writer is Kurt Nemo, and he writes, a cabal of wealthy and influential Democrats, under the cover of a Colorado-based group called Progress Now, are attempting to push Obamacare on young Americans through a salacious propaganda campaign. And if you don't know what the word salacious means, let your imagination run. Got Insurance, an online ad. This is where this one is focused. Online, where who spends a lot of their time? Young people, yeah. It's posted on the Thanks Obamacare campaign website. It then encourages young women to have sex and not worry about pregnancy because, quote, health insurance mandated by Obamacare covers the pill. Remember when this first came out that we were going to have to cover women and their contraception, and there was that one lady who, went to the Senate and, I shouldn't have to pay for my contraception. Remember all that? Well, now they've taken it, they've ratcheted it up a notch with this ad. And they're taking a cue from the Got Milk campaign where they're saying Got Insurance. And it's a picture of a woman. You can see this on my Facebook page, by the way. I'm sure it's gone viral. Not because of me, because whoever posted it. But it's a picture of this young lady, and she's standing there with her little package of pills. And she's like she's all excited. And then standing behind her is this, cool kind of guy with his shirt open, and, he's looking kind of cool. And the rest of the caption says, Got Insurance? Let's get physical. OMG, he's hot. Let's hope he's as easy to get as this birth control. My health insurance covers the pill, which means all I have to worry about is getting him between the covers. That's right. That's an actual ad. It's not a joke. Now, I'm sure, and I'm saying this, I'm sure that if there was an outcry from the American people about this ad, about how they're waving contraception in the face of people like myself who don't necessarily want to have to pay for some woman's contraception, waving in our face, I'm sure if there was enough outcry that the president would come out and say, look, I don't have anything to do with that. That has nothing to do with me. He'll distance himself. But until there's a problem, he's hoping I want to get the young people on my side. And we know that young people are promiscuous. At least this is what our research tells us. And if that's the case, this is for them. I'm very appalled. Got Insurance. Let's get physical. OMG, he's hot. Let's hope he's as easy to get. Let's hope he is as easy to get as the pill. That's so crass. Colorado-based group called Progress Now. You're telling me that they believe that this kind of an ad is really progress? Progress? Now. Kind of sick to me. All right, let me go back to the chat room to see if, did they hear the story about the, no one's answering. No one's answering me. Did you hear the story about the, all right, no one's answering, so I'll leave that one alone. 6:30 is the time, and that means we should take another quick look at Holland's Tulip City forecast from weather.com. It's going to be a lovely day, albeit a cold one. Mostly clear skies today, sunny with a high right around 40 degrees. Tonight, look for clear skies, a low around 30. And for tomorrow, Thursday, more sunshine and a high near 50. Now, all three forecasts include breezy conditions. Today, tonight, and tomorrow, we could see winds gusting into the low 30-mile-an-hour range, so just keep that in mind. Right now in Holland, under clear skies, it's 31 degrees, and in Zeeland, 28. Get the latest weather forecast at weather.com or right here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. 6:31 is the time. Let me share something with you real fast. Have you heard of something called the Zeeland Declaration? I believe the gentleman, the group that put this out, they had a full-page article in the Sentinel this past Sunday. In fact, I talked with Pastor Garrett, and he told me that it was there. The Zeeland Declaration. Let me just read a little bit of it for you. By the way, the good pastor is going to be a guest on the program in the next hour, and he's going to talk to us all about this and this other statement. First of all, the Zeeland Declaration, dated October 22nd, 2013. It says, Christ's church exists to announce and proclaim the kingship of Jesus Christ over all the powers of the world, including spiritual forces, civil authorities, and the culture at large. Her prophetic mission includes celebrating and commending government when she embraces her God-given role and challenging her when she oversteps her authority. That's just a little bit of the Zeeland Declaration. And then there's another document that goes along with it, and it is a statement on homosexuality. And I'll just read a little bit of that too. This one was put together by a group called the Darius Group, but it is endorsed by the Holland Area Pastors Fraternity. And it basically states that God's law says that marriage is between a man and a woman. That is the nuclear family, and that they stand for that, and that they don't tolerate, anything less. It says here, our sexuality, in some ways, a reflection of the nature of God. But ever since our first parents rebelled against God, our understanding of sexuality has been under assault. We regret that the people responsible for the vast majority of sexual wrongdoing in the world today are not male homosexuals, but male heterosexuals. And if you think about it, that really does make a lot of sense. But again, we'll talk with Pastor Dave Guerin in the 7 o'clock hour, and he will put it all into perspective. The Greater Holland Area Pastors Fraternity Statement on Homosexuality, put together by the Darius Group, and then we'll also have him talk to us about the Zeeland Declaration. That's coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, along with a conversation with Diane Lowe here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. I feel like hearing some music right now. I feel like hearing another feel-good song, because you can never have too many of them, especially on the hump day. The hump day. It's Wednesday, okay? And we're at the top of the hill, and we can see the weekend, and it's all downhill from here. I'd rather say it like that than hump day. But anyway, the next song coming up, feel-good song of the morning, number 2. The name of the group, the Cowsills. The song, The Rain, The Park, and the Other Things from 1967, here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network.
Suddenly the sun broke through. I turned around, she was gone. And all I had left was one little flower in my hand. But I knew she had made me happy. Flowers in her hair, flowers everywhere. Oh, I know just why. She simply caught my eye. She seemed so sweet and kind. She crept into my life. Her love showed me the way to find a sunny day. Was she reality or just a dream?
The Cowsills and that feel-good song of the morning. It's called "The Rain, the Park, and Other Things." I'm going to play another song from one of my favorite groups, Frankie Beverly and Maze. Boy, this guy has a real smooth voice. This is one of their bigger hits. You didn't hear it on the pop charts, but if you were a soul music listener, you know all about this. It's called Happy Feelings, and we sure could use some here in the world today. It's Maze, here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. The time, 6:38. We'll look at Holland's hometown tulip time forecast next.
From you remind me of love. I've got my mind and my heart, yeah. And I believe in above and these happy feelings. I'll spread them all over the world. These happy feelings, yeah. I'll spread them all over the world. These happy feelings, I'll spread them all over the world. Tell you about that feeling, yeah, yeah. Tell you about that feeling, yeah, yeah. Every day. Tell you about that feeling, yeah, yeah. Won't go back to the old. Tell you about that feeling, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very nice tune there. Frankie Beverly and Maze and the tune Happy Feelings here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. What's the weather going to be like today? Well, let's take a quick look at Holland's Tulip City forecast from weather.com. It's going to be a chilly day for sure. Look for mostly sunny skies today with a high of 40 degrees, but the chill is going to come from the breezes, which could gust as high as 32 miles per hour. This evening, clear skies, low around 30, again with winds gusting to about 33 miles an hour. And for Thursday, sunny with a high near 50 and breezes gusting as high as 32 miles per hour. In the Tulip City right now, at the Tulip City Airport, it's 31 degrees, and in Zeeland, 29. The latest weather forecast can be found at weather.com or right here in the internet world of Red's Place every 10 to 15 minutes. I promised someone that I was going to play the Beatles next, and I'm going to do it. Yes, I am. And do you want to know a secret? They're one of my favorite bands of all times. Here's the Beatles in Red's Place. Here's music now from Beau Brummels. Laugh, laugh. Here in the internet world of Red's Place.
Don't mind my preaching to you. I said don't trust him, baby, now you know. You don't let everything there is to know it's true. Wouldn't believe me when I gave advice. I said that he was a tease. If you won't help, you better ask me now. So please sincere, convince me with a pretty please. Laugh, laugh, I thought I'd die. It seems so funny to me. Laugh, laugh, you better die. Who loves you how it feels to be lonely, oh so lonely. Don't think I'm being funny when I say you got just what you deserve. I can't help feeling you found out today. You thought you were too good, you had a lot of nerve. Won't say I'm sorry for the things I said. I'm glad he packed it to go. You kept on bragging he was yours instead. Found you don't know everything that is to know. Funny to me. Laugh, laugh, you better die. Who taught you how to be lonely, oh so lonely.
You know, when I got into radio and I was trying to look up this song, I thought the title of the song was Lonely. It took me years and years to finally...
Don't close your ears to me. Take my advice and you find out that me. That's another girl won't cause you misery. Don't say you can't get any boy to call. Don't be so smug or else you'll find you can't get any boy at all. You'll wind up like the lady sits on the shelf. Laugh, laugh, I thought I'd die. It seems so funny to me. Laugh, laugh, you better die. Who taught you how it feels to be lonely, oh so lonely.
Yes. Beau Brummels and the song Laugh, Laugh. Not Lonely. Yeah, I was looking up that song when I got into radio. I was Hold on. I was at an oldie station, in fact. And I'm, burning my brain trying to think of some songs that I wanted to play that I know people would like. And I'm like, there's that song. It's called Lonely. No one could tell me what it was. Years later, I end up in Manistee at Oldies 101.5. And my news director, his name was Chuck Randall. I said, Chuck, I'm trying to find this song, Lonely. He goes, Lonely? And then he named off a few songs that had lonely in it because he was a real good music guy. And I went, no, that's not it. And he goes, well, can you sing a few bars? And I went, yeah. Lonely, oh, so lonely. He goes, oh, that's Bo Brummel's Laugh, Laugh. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, the song is entitled Laugh, Laugh. And I'm thinking, where do you get that from? And then, of course, I listened to it and I heard Laugh, Laugh, before. But see, I didn't think they were saying Laugh, Laugh. I thought they were saying Life, Life, before I die. It seems so funny to me. That made sense. See, what I did was I took my own lyrics, put them in place of the real lyrics, and created a whole new song. Life, life, before I die. It seems so funny to me. I guess I had to make those words make sense. And then when I heard that it was laugh, laugh, and whatever else they say, man, I was totally floored. But I enjoy always finding out what the song really means later on. I'm trying to find this song that I was going to play for you. I just saw it. Oh, here it is. This is a cool tune from like 1964, and you will remember it when you hear it. I'm not going to play it right now. There's a story that I want to share with you in 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, we had to skip that ad, put that on pause, and then we'll play that song in a second. But the thing I wanted to share with you comes from Infowars.com, written by Paul Joseph Watson. We've all heard about the black boxes that are in airplanes, right? It's a recording device that records everything that's said inside the cockpit so that if there's an accident, an emergency or something, plane crashes, they will retrieve that black box, and inside of it is all the information that will help them piece together what happened, how this tragedy occurred. Well, move over black boxes because the Department of Homeland Security has white boxes. Yeah. Strange new off-white boxes popping up in downtown Seattle use Wi-Fi networks that can record the last 1,000 locations of a person using their cell phone's MAC address. But the Department of Homeland Security, which funded the network to the tune of $2.7 million that we really didn't have, has refused to address the nightmare privacy implications of a system that could lead to the permanent tracking of an entire city's population. Isn't that wonderful? The technology is being put in place thanks to $2.7 million of funding by the Department of Homeland Security to put these off-white boxes up that can track a person. What did it say here? It can track a person's the last 1,000 locations of a person using their cell phone. It can do that for an entire city. Why in the world would the Department of Homeland Security need to track every American? And I say that because I don't see here any words about how it only picks up certain cell phones, like the cell phones of terrorists, like the whole Patriot Act, was all put in place so that we can't be attacked again, or so that we can take care of terrorists once we find them, and gives us broad authority to say anyone's a terrorist and take away their rights. This kind of sounds like the same thing, these boxes. I don't know why in the world they would need to do this. Let me continue on. Maybe the answer is here. A report by The Stranger, that's a weekly Seattle newspaper, exposes how the boxes, which are attached to utility poles and include a vertical antenna, can track cell phones even if they're not connected to the system's Wi-Fi network. Oh, yeah, really scary. So you don't even have to be part of the network. The technology is so strong that if your cell phone's out there, that signal can and will be grabbed by the Department of Homeland Security. Now, if they're putting them on telephone poles, does that mean that they have worked out a deal with the local municipalities that actually, own those wires and those telephone poles? Did they make a deal? You can't just put it up on the pole if you want to. Aruba, that's the name of the company that provided the boxes to the Seattle Police Department, brags in its technical literature about how the boxes can keep track of rogue or unassociated devices, in other words, your cell phone, even if you have refused to let the system access your device's Wi-Fi component. Wow. Wow. The Department of Homeland Security, Big Brother run amok. Even if you don't give them permission, too bad. We're going to check you out anyway. We're going to grab your signal anyway. The user's guide for one of Aruba's recent software products states, and I quote, "The wireless network has a wealth of information about unassociated and associated devices, cell phones. The software includes a location engine that calculates associated and unassociated device locations every 30 seconds by default. The last 1,000 historical locations are stored for each MAC address." Now, when reporters Matt Fisk and Brendan Kiley asked the Seattle Police Department and the Department of Homeland Security to explain what the boxes were used for, guess what happened? Right, the Department of Homeland Security refused to comment, and Seattle Police Detective Monty Moss would only state that the department, quote, "is not comfortable answering policy questions when we do not yet have a policy." How come everything keeps going back to the Affordable Health Care Act? And Nancy Pelosi saying, you'll have to pass this law before you can find out what's in it. A precedent was set way back when. And now everyone seems to be jumping on the bandwagon, like the Seattle Police Department saying, we're not comfortable answering policy questions when we don't have a policy yet. Now, we do have the equipment in place, and it can track the last 1,000 locations of any cell phone, but we don't have a policy to use it for, nor do we know what we're using it for. Thank you. Oh, you know, Diane posted on Facebook. She posted a question, and I'm going to just share it with you. I'm going to ask the question of you. Hold on a second. Let me find it. Real simple. She says, America the Beautiful. Dash. Is she? You know the song. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, now controlled by Monsanto, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plains, which was cordoned off during the government shutdown. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. Past tense, because, well, this is not a country of a majority of people who are worshiping God, and therefore he has turned his back on America, I believe. And crown thy good crowns. I think those crowns have been cast down. With brotherhood. Brotherhood? How can we have brotherhood when our administration is talking about allowing, some several million illegal immigrants to just become citizens? How could we have brotherhood when the House and the Senate couldn't come together, when the Republicans and Democrats couldn't come together, and we had a government shutdown? Where's the brotherhood? From sea to shining sea. Her question was, America the Beautiful, is she? And I answered, good question. It depends on who you ask. I say, not as beautiful as she once was. Another person wrote, many things have changed, but go to many other countries and compare. Yes, America is still beautiful. You see, for me, that's a pie-in-the-sky answer. Because most people want to believe, and I understand, I want to believe that my country is still great and wonderful too. I want to believe that, but as I look around, the reality tells me it ain't so. When you have a president who some 36 times, at least 36 times that were documented, lied to the American public when he knew good and well that most Americans were going to be tossed off their insurance, told us that if we want to keep our insurance, we could, period. If we want to keep our doctors, we can, period. How could you say, go to many other countries and compare? We're almost like those other countries that you're talking about comparing us to. Benghazi, Benghazi, Benghazi. Benghazi, 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 Benghazi. No. She's not as beautiful as she once was. In fact, I hesitate to use the word beauty. America, the nation. But what are your thoughts? That question is on Facebook. If you'd like to answer, head on over to the Ustream chat room because you can also check it out right there. Oh, I see it's 7:03. We're into our final hour of the internet world of Red's Place, which will find us talking with Diane Lowe. Yes, her segment that I named when I was at the radio station, Random Ramblings of, joins us here on the podcast. And she will be talking with us at about, I don't know, about 7:15 or so. And then at about 7:35, I'm going to talk with Pastor Dave Guerin. He is the pastor at Mana Church, and we're going to talk about two things. One, the Zealand Declaration, which his group of pastors put together, and a statement about homosexuality. We're going to find out why they had to put the statement together and what they hope to accomplish with it. But, of course, we've got to play some music. And I know I said I would play some Christmas music. Really, I'm not going to be like those radio stations and play, 5 or 6 Christmas songs an hour. As we get closer to Christmas, I will ramp up my Christmas music selection. But right now, we're so far away, and Thanksgiving hasn't even happened. I just feel funny playing, a lot of Christmas music. But I'll play a song today. Right now, though, we need to go back to the 1960s, and I'm talking the early 1960s. The name of the group is the Sir Douglas Quintet. And you'll remember this song maybe when you hear the first few bars.
Ladies and gentlemen, lords and ladies, Hullabaloo proudly presents the Sir Douglas Quintet.
Remember that TV show Hullabaloo? Anyway, the name of the song is She's About a Mover, here in Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. Wasn't that a real treat from the TV show Hullabaloo from 1966 and the Sir Douglas Quintet and She's About a Move On. We're going to stay in the 60s now with the Shangri-Las and one of my favorite tunes from that era, which, again, is one of those songs where I didn't know what they were saying, so I just added my own lyrics. And they're saying... Well, the name of the song is Remember Walking in the Sand. And there's that one part in the song where they go, remember, walking in the sand. I didn't know they were saying remember. As a child, I inserted the word cadet. I didn't even know what a cadet was, but that's what it sounded like they were saying to me. Cadet, walking in the sand. You listen and tell me if it doesn't sound like cadet, even though we now know it's remember. Here they are, the Shangri-Las. Remember, walking in the sand. In Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network.
We
Cadet. Cadet. Remember. Oh, no, they're not saying remember. They're saying cadet. Don't ask me where I got that from. Shangri-La's Remember, Walking in the Sand, here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. Well, today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2013. It is the 317th day of the year. Only 48 days remain in this year. And 38 days until winter. The average high temperature on this date is 50 degrees. The average low temperature 37. Today we're looking for highs right around 40. Based on that average high and low, this I think is supposed to be the Indian summer week that we're not going to have this year. Let's see. Yesterday's high temp, 35 degrees. The overnight low was in the 20s. And 1 year ago on this very date, our high and low were 40 and 27 degrees, respectively. Right now we have a barometer at 30.46. Our humidity is 64%. The winds are rather interesting out of the west at 14 miles per hour, driving that wind chill of 22 degrees above zero. Visibility is excellent, and the dew point, it's at 21 degrees. And now, here is Holland's Tulip City forecast from weather.com. Not a bad forecast if you like cold temps, because you'll have that today, along with mostly sunny skies. Look for a high right around 40, and winds could gust as high as 32 miles per hour. For tonight, clear skies with a low near 30, again with winds gusting around 30 miles per hour. For Thursday, tomorrow, we'll have sunshine and a high of 47, again with the winds gusting into the 30-mile-an-hour range. Thursday night, cloudy skies, and then for Friday, we'll have partly sunny skies to begin the weekend with a high near 47 degrees, and it looks like the breezes will end on Thursday night. Currently in the Tulip City, it is 32 degrees, and in Zeeland, 30 degrees, under mostly clear skies. The latest weather forecast can be found at weather.com or every 10 to 15 minutes right here in the internet world of Red's Place. Okay, got to get her on the telly. That would be our good friend Diane Lowe. I want to get the appropriate, I've got to, now that Diane's going to be coming back, I have to find some different music to use as her intro, because the other music, well, it's still at the radio station, WHTC, and I don't have access to it, but I've got access to millions of songs on the internet, and it's just going to be a matter of time. Let me see. Yeah. It'll just be a matter of time before I find the perfect music, and that... No, I don't want whoop-de-doo. That's what I'm looking for. Right there. Okay, let's see if we can get her on the telephone, Diane Lowe, for her segment here, Random Ramblings of... There we go, calling Diane Lowe. 7:13 is the time, and the temperature out there in Holland, 32 degrees, right at the point of freezing.
Good morning.
Is this Diane Lowe?
It sure is.
Good morning, my love. How are you today?
I am good.
Good to hear. Look,
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Very well. I wish we would get that Indian summer, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, it's only November. Let's just keep, hoping. You know how that goes.
But wait a minute. I thought the Indian summer took place in October.
No, Indian summer happens after the first freeze. So,
we've
I
had
don't
that.
think we've officially had it yet, but, one can hope.
Wait a minute. What was all that snow we had earlier this week on Monday? Wasn't that a freeze?
Yes, but has it been warm enough yet to be considered an Indian summer?
Nope, I got your point. I got your point.
So,
All right,
I'm still waiting. I'm holding out for it.
You, me, and about 20 million other people. So what are you gonna ramble about this morning?
Well, I found this really interesting article. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm just going to throw it out there because it's just kind of interesting. One of the things it talks about is by the year 2050, we are going to be feeding 9 billion people. So They're talking about not only do we have to produce food better, we have to take care of the food that we already have better, because 40% of the food grown on our nation's soil never makes it to the human mouth. It's lost somewhere between putting the seed in the ground and the landfill. That is unbelievable. 40%, almost half of what we work so hard for never even gets consumed. Annually, 160 billion pounds, or enough food to fill a Rose Bowl, is thrown away. And we take our cows to the landfill when they die. And I went there with my son once, and it's unbelievable. It's like a Mad Max scene. It's all gray and yucky and everything. But anyway, they're saying at the landfills, food waste accounts for a larger volume of discarded material, more than plastic and metal. So there's a whole lot of food going to waste. Now, this is the interesting part that kind of connects us back to the cows. It says that the way it has the composting factor, how it falls apart in the landfill.
Yeah.
It produces greenhouse gas, and that was one of the things that they were upset about. People who owned a lot of cows and stuff like that, because they were saying that they have all this gas and it's ruining our atmosphere and all this other baloney.
Yeah.
Anyway, this food that does not get eaten is making a whole lot more gas than cows. This gets a little technical here, but on an average, when cows were eating some of this waste products, instead of going to the landfill, the total gas house release was 9 kilograms of carbon dioxide per cow daily. Now, if that same amount that was fed to the cows was put into the landfill, there would have been 46.2 kilograms. So by feeding this stuff back to the cows, which everybody said was causing problems, we're actually helping that whole greenhouse gas problem. So I don't know how they're planning on doing all this stuff, but I do know one thing. We feed our cows some of that discarded food. Remember me telling you how we feed our cows cereal?
Yes, and I made a joke about it. Which cereal?
Yeah. Yeah. So we get some stuff from this place, and we've fed them hamburger buns and hot dog buns, and we fed them cereal, and there's usually been some chocolate in it, stuff like that. Our ration guy figures out, what that is compared to whatever it is they need, and it gets mixed in with their food. So I thought it was pretty interesting that, first of all, that we waste so much food. I mean, that would be like taking 40% of our work that we do all year long and not getting paid for it or something. You know what I mean? It's like it's totally wasted, 40%.
Now, did I miss you telling us where that missing food goes? Did I miss that?
It goes to the landfills. It just
I didn't
never
miss it.
makes it to the food to your mouth.
Why is it going to the landfill?
Because people somewhere along the line, let's say I fill my bulk tank up with milk and they come pick it up. Maybe there's a spill. Maybe the people who bottle it, they don't do it correctly. Maybe the grocery store leaves it sitting out and they can't fill it because it's spoiled.
Oh, okay.
People buy it, they don't eat it. I mean, how much food do you throw away a week?
I'm not going to say because I'll be very embarrassed.
I know, we all do. We
I think about it, though.
throw away way too much food. It's you know, you have all these great intentions. You go to the grocery store, you buy all this food, especially if you're on this health kick, you want to be healthy. And then you come home, and sometimes you even chop up all your vegetables and you get it all ready to go. And then you don't eat it because you're too tired, you stop somewhere, you go out, whatever, and then you throw it away.
You know, we really don't have any food to be wasting, Diane, because when I think about it, if 40% is going into the landfill and about 20% of it is going for like ethanol and things like that, there really doesn't sound like a whole lot left for you and me.
Well, that's what they're saying, that by 2050 we need to feed 9 billion people. So they're looking at, you know, everybody wants to know how to grow more and less land and all this other stuff. But what they're saying is, can you imagine how much less they would have to produce if they could reclaim that 40% that we're losing?
Oh, yeah. We're talking feed the world.
Yeah. So I'm just learning about this stuff, so there's a whole lot more, you know, involved in it than what I'm talking about. But just the fact that we waste 40% of our food is just unbelievable to me, and I think we all need to pay a little bit closer attention to that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm sure that those who are listening here or who will listen to the playback of what we're talking about will do just that, because I'm very cognizant of how much food I waste. I am. I don't do it lightly and just throw it away and go, no big deal. I throw it in the trash can and oftentimes look at it and go, man, am I sure I want to get rid of that? Maybe give it to a dog or a cat or something?
Yeah. Well, now they're saying that if they can use the byproducts in the dairy diets of these cows and stuff like that, it would reduce the environmental impact, and it'll also reduce the greenhouse gases, and it'll also enhance the efficiency of our food supply. So I think it's something that they're going to be really. It sounds like something to be worth really, looking into and figuring out how they're going to do it.
Right, and you don't think that they're grasping at straws, talking about the gas that comes out of a cow is actually hurting the environment? Come on.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that whole fart tax that they were talking about?
Yes.
Remember we talked about that?
I thought it was a joke. Yes.
No, it wasn't.
It's dead now, isn't it? There's still no.
I haven't heard anything about it. I don't follow it. I'm assuming so. But they were talking about how, especially if you have a lot of cows in one place, we're polluting the air and blah, blah, blah. Well, if that's the case, just down the road from us a ways, they're polluting it big time because it's a landfill, and it's got, this article says it's got more food than it does anything else, and this food is giving off this gas. So
great. All right.
Anyway.
All right. Well, if those naysayers want to go ahead and have their morning cereal with grape juice or something, let it be. Let it be.
Exactly.
All right, Diane, thanks again for stopping by and rambling with us, and I look forward to talking with you next Wednesday morning, my dear.
Okay, next Wednesday I'm going to concentrate on Thanksgiving dinner, so...
Oh, well...
Got some tips about that.
When I was at the radio station, I worked every holiday, but now that I'm my own boss, I might be off on Thursday.
Oh, there
or
you
Wednesday.
go.
Yeah. Well,
I'll help you make a turkey.
All right, I'll let you know, dear.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Random Ramblings of Diane Lowe. Once again, she's back with Red here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. 7:22 is the time, and as far as the weather is concerned, well, today is not going to be bad. We're going to have mostly sunny skies, and we'll have a high near 40 degrees, which means you should wear a jacket, long sleeve shirt, minimum. Tonight we'll have mostly clear skies, but the low is going to drop to around 30 degrees. So if you're outside, you want to add an additional jacket. So that's a long sleeve shirt and 2 jackets for tonight. And then for Thursday, mostly sunny skies with a high near 47. So you'll be able to get rid of the jacket, maybe the long sleeve shirt as well. Right now it's 32 degrees in Holland and 30 degrees in Zeeland under mostly clear skies. Remember, you can always get the latest forecast at weather.com. I bet you have an app on your smartphone, don't you? Yeah, or just keep listening here. I'll be checking the weather at least once or twice before we get done here at 8 a.m. Right now, let's go back to 1974 as I set up for the next interview when we'll talk with Pastor David Guerin about, number 1, the Zeeland Declaration, and 2, a statement on homosexuality. But right now, it's the group Redbone and Come and Get Your Love from 1974 here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. All right, that'll do it right there for Redbone and Come and Get Your Love here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. Time to get back on the phone. Oh, yes. Calling Pastor David Guerin of the Mana Church, and we're going to talk about the Zealand Declaration.
Hello, this is Dave.
Dave, Red Kingman here. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Red. How are you doing?
Well, very well. Thank you so much. So before we get into the conversation, you are the pastor at, and how do I say it, Mana or Mana?
Mana.
Mana
no,
Church.
It's Mana.
Mana.
Yep. Man and woman.
Yep. Oh, I get it. I thought it was like manna, as in what was falling from heaven for the...
No, it is.
Oh, okay.
It is, but the pronunciation is like man and woman, but it's manna.
Cool.
Just like the manna that fell from heaven.
And isn't that an amazing story, man? It's a story of how God loves his creation to the point where, look, if you follow what I tell you to do, I will clothe you. I will even feed you. Could you imagine food falling from the sky?
I mean, it's incredible. I know. It's incredible.
And then Moses put, they put Moses' staff, the Ten Commandments that were left, and some of the manna in the ark.
In the ark.
Now, and where do you think that is these days? You ever think about that?
Oh, I think about it often. Yeah, I wonder.
Because there is. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't even know if it still exists, if it was destroyed or if it's sitting somewhere. So who knows? My feeling is it's sitting somewhere, because how could you destroy something that you can't even get up close to unless you're a Levite? Yeah. Really? Yeah, I don't know. Good question. Just a little side conversation before we get into what you're on the program for. This past Sunday in the Holland Sentinel, there was a big article that your group placed. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your group, and then about the Zealand Declaration? Sure. The group is called the Holland Area Pastors Fraternity, and it's just that. It's a group of area pastors. We get together formally once a month on the third Tuesday of each month, and we discuss things relative to our role as pastors and the life of the church, and how we can better serve our congregations, better serve our community. And what arose out of that was a desire to try and articulate our convictions regarding what the Bible teaches relative to same-sex marriage, homosexual behavior, those kinds of things. And, at that time, this was like, year and a half, 2 years ago, there was quite a bit of interest generated on that topic through issues surrounding the city council and so on. And we thought, you know what? How about we share biblical truth with the people of the Holland area? And so out of that arose a desire to just articulate a statement that, it's kind of written as a story, but basically saying, look, this is what God desires, and this is the ideal or the norm, and really it arises out of the very creation itself. Well, and so,
Pastor David, may I interrupt and read your mission statement for the listeners?
Sure.
Okay. This is the mission statement for the Zealand Declaration. It reads, and I read a little bit of it earlier, but I'm going to read the whole thing now. Christ Church exists to announce and proclaim the kingship of Jesus Christ over all the powers of the world, including spiritual forces, civil authorities, and the culture at large. Her prophetic mission includes celebrating and commending government when she embraces her God-given role, and challenging her when she oversteps her authority, or when she seeks to coerce people of faith, restricting the free exercise of religion. The Denarius Council exists to speak biblical truth into our present culture, educating her citizens at every level and encouraging them to actively engage that culture in all of its many expressions. Clearly, you are a Christian organization. Does that mean that you would, and I'm not asking you this to trap you, I'm just trying to, be a good interview. Does that mean that you would not accept other faiths into the council because they clearly don't follow what Christians believe?
Well, the Denarius Council it's related to the Holland Area Pastors Fraternity, but it's not identical. The Denarius Council is actually it's a gathering of I guess you would call them concerned citizens, and I would say probably 2/3, 3/5 of the group are actual pastors. The rest are business people, local, city council members, and so on. And there's a very, very broad representation in that group, both Protestant, Catholic, and so on.
Okay.
So, but it is definitely rooted in a Judeo-Christian ethic, particularly as articulated in the Bible. So I can't imagine that anybody that didn't share that same kind of commitment would be part of the Denarius Council, but
Gotcha.
I suppose it's possible.
Mm-hmm. So have you gotten any blowback yet? Because we know that we're living in a day and age where Christianity is definitely under attack, especially, and I'm going to say especially in our own country, which was founded on these Judeo-Christian principles. So I would assume that you must have received some blowback.
Oh, absolutely. The problem is that any time you say or do anything short of a grand sweeping endorsement of, taking the issue of homosexuality,
Okay.
as soon as you say anything that might even suggest that you're not endorsing that lifestyle, that agenda, you're immediately labeled a racist, a bigot, a hater, a homophobe. And, part of what we were trying to do in the statement that we placed in the newspaper was to try and counter some of those criticisms and really indicate that what is driving this is really our love for our fellow citizens, be they straight or gay. And so, despite that, as I said,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you say something that sounds even remotely critical or contrary, there's definitely been some pushback, and we're seeing more and more of that as time goes on.
Well, what I'm hoping is that you'll also see more and more support from the Christian community because, if one of us is under attack, we're all under attack. And really, folks,
oh, yeah.
For me, and I've been thinking about this the last several years, what really separates heterosexuality from homosexuality is basically sex. I mean, and I don't like the idea of being forced to accept your sexual preference, because really that's what separates the heterosexual community from the homosexual community. Men can love one another, men can live together and buy furniture together, everything, you can do everything, but it's when you cross that line sexually that it becomes something that's a curse to God. And this is what the Bible and Christians are focused on. It's not about that individual, because look, well, I take that back. It is about the individual, but it's not about their lifestyle. I don't really need to know or care about what you're doing behind those closed doors. And you really shouldn't have the right to force that lifestyle, as you said, upon me. I should have the right to speak out against it. And it really bothers me how as soon as anyone, be they religious or not, speaks out against homosexuality, like you said, they are immediately attacked. And I don't understand why people don't see that as something negative.
Well, and again, what we're trying to do is kind of approach the entire issue from the other end of the stick, because I think what people do is they look to Christians and the Bible and they ask the question, what does the Bible say we can't do? What does the Bible say no to?
Oh.
And we're actually approaching it from completely the opposite perspective. We're asking the question, what does the Bible affirm? What does the Bible say yes to? What does the Bible encourage? And from our perspective, what the Bible is saying yes to is a lifelong partnership between one man and one woman within the bonds of marriage. And again and again and again, God and His Word affirms that. So we're not approaching it saying, oh, you bad homosexuals, you're doing something that the Bible says you shouldn't do, although I do believe that the Bible is fairly clear on that. But the overwhelming corpus of Christian literature, in the Bible in particular, says there is a norm, there is a yes that God says, and that is a yes to marriage in a lifelong partnership between one man and one woman. And so that's really what we're trying to articulate and say, this is what God desires, and He desires it because He loves us.
And I love, though, how the folks from the homosexual camp will try to say that the Bible endorses that lifestyle. And I also find it interesting how they like to attack the messengers. I don't hear anyone standing on a street corner yelling at God, you know, yelling at Him for what He's put in the Bible, but they want to yell at you and me as if it was our decision to, you know, feel those feelings about homosexuals.
Oh, precisely. I mean, we're, you know, really, and as I said before, what is motivating us is genuinely the love of Christ. And so we can say without equivocation, we love people who are gay, who are homosexual. That's not the issue. The issue is sometimes love has to say, you know what, I'm not going to endorse something that I believe will hurt you. And so the most loving thing that you can do is discourage people from doing those things that you believe will hurt them. And that's really what we're saying. That's what we're trying to articulate. And at the same time, make it very clear, no, the Bible does speak to this issue, and there is no way that you can make the Word of God say that it endorses a homosexual lifestyle. I'm sorry, it's just not there.
No, and it's pretty clear, too. And folks, if you're just tuning in, I've been talking with Pastor David Guerin. He is with the Manna Church, and we're talking about the Zeeland Declaration, among other things. You know, part of your mission statement, and it's a scripture that the Lord gave me after I got fired from the radio station here. He had to remind me that I battle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. And I noticed that you said, in the statement, Christ's church exists to announce and proclaim the kingship of Jesus Christ over all the powers of the world, including spiritual forces. Do you find that a lot of Christians are just not well versed in the fact that it's a spiritual battle? That's the number one battle. Do you find that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think it's so easy, and I also think, for example, of the words in 2 Corinthians 10, where it says, although we live in the world, we do not fight like the world fights. And so I think the tendency on the part of a lot of very well-intentioned Christians is to say, well, we need to embrace the same tactics and the same approach and the same methods that the world does in fighting this battle. But the battle isn't against, people who are gay or liberal politicians or, how long can the list potentially be? The core issue is spiritual. And that is why we've got to, number one, we've got to pray. We've got to fall on our faces before God and beseech Him to empower us and embolden us and equip us. And then as we move forward, as that same passage in 2 Corinthians 10 says, we don't use our weapons are powerful. And the weapons that we use are things like prayer and worship and love and mercy and those kinds of things. And those aren't concessions. Those aren't our way of saying, well, we're just going to lay down and take it. No, those are powerful weapons that demolish those things that stand opposed to the kingdom. So we wholeheartedly embrace the idea that at the core, this is a spiritual battle. You know, I love that. When you were saying that, another scripture popped into my head, which the Lord gave me years ago. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual, to the pulling down of strongholds. And there's another phrase that Christendom, I don't think, teaches enough about, these strongholds, these things that are keeping us from God. They're not a physical thing that you can touch or feel. It's in the mind. Right. Isn't that where the battle is? Well, yeah, I mean, so how do you boycott, for example, or picket or march against that? So that's why we are trying to address the mind. Think of what the scriptures say in Romans 8. Don't be conformed any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so what the Denarius Council and Pastors Fraternity are trying to do is address the mind, to teach and to educate, because so many Christians are so timid and fearful because they just don't know what the Bible teaches. So we're trying to equip them to know that.
You know what? Maybe you need to be equipping some of these pastors, because they want to give a little milquetoast kind of sermon instead of, everyone wants to stay away from the fire and brimstone. But if we don't talk about God's wrath and anger, which goes hand in hand with his love, you're missing the whole point.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes a joke of forgiveness. We view forgiveness as something that God just kind of waves his hand and winks and says, oh, it's okay. I mean, the forgiveness of God was incredibly costly. It cost him his very life. And so, again, what we're trying to do is to share truth in a winsome way, in a way that is gentle and respectful, but at the same time is as on point as we can be. And that is, to say, for example, God is love. Well, there's no question that is the truth, but that's not all the truth.
I know.
We need to say more, because God is also a consuming fire. And so what we're trying to do is strike that balance and at the same time contribute to transforming our culture and our world in the name of Jesus Christ.
Pastor David Guerin, it was a pleasure talking with you, and I've got your number. And when I do my Tuesday night programs, if you're not busy, that's right, you do have these standing commitments. I guess I'll have to have you on Wednesday or Friday morning so we can talk about the Word of God sometimes in depth.
That would be great, Red. I'd love it.
It would be. All right, thank you so much for stopping by this morning. Have a great day, and I will be in touch.
You bet. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks much.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Pastor David Guerin of the Manna Church joining us here. I want to thank Jim Chiodo for helping to connect the pastor and me. And that's going to be a great resource, because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about spiritually. And, a side of me says, well, you're not a pastor, so how are you going to talk to the people, and why should they listen to you? But then the other side says, I have sent my son to you. You came to me asking for forgiveness, and I forgave you. And then I imparted a part of my son in you, and it's growing up in you. And you can't keep it quiet. And of course you're a sinner. We're all sinners. We're going to be sinners until we're translated off this planet. But that doesn't mean that you have to keep your mouth shut. It just means that you need to listen to what you're saying as well. So, but I'm happy that I've met this pastor, because we're going to talk about a whole lot. And in fact, with the upcoming Christmas season, that's one conversation that I really want to have. Who said that Christ was born on the 25th? Who said? And who gave them authority, whoever they are, to have said that? Now, I know who said it, and I know what authority they think they have, but I'd like to hear what the pastor has to say, and bring us some scriptural truth. That'll be really nice. 7:45 is the time. We're going to take one more look at Holland's Tulip City forecast for this Wednesday that some folks like to call Hump Day. I just say we're at the top of the hill and we can see the weekend over there. And as we approach the weekend today, we'll do so with mostly sunny skies with a high near 40. Breezy as well, with winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour. That same wind gust ratio will be with us tonight, as we have mostly clear skies and a low around 30, and the same winds gusting in the low 30-mile-an-hour range on Thursday under mostly sunny skies. Look for a high tomorrow of 47. Right now it's 32 degrees in Holland and 30 degrees in Zeeland under mostly clear skies. You can always get the latest weather forecast at weather.com. And when I go off the air, I'm sure, because I have a weather app on my phone, Shelley has one on hers, I'm sure you must have one on yours too. So just check that throughout the day for your local weather. 7:46 is the time. Great conversation there with the pastor. Right now, back to the music with Chaka Khan and a very, very popular slow tune, Sweet Thing, here in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. The time is 7:46. Good morning. Rufus and Shaka Khan and Sweet Thing here in the internet world of Red's Place. From the 1970s, George McCrae and Rock Your Baby, hitting those high notes with that falsetto. Boy, it was a big deal when I was growing up in the 70s. You know, you got to be able to hit that falsetto, that high voice, just like Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind & Fire, or like this, George McCrae and Rock Your Baby. Speaking of baby, here's Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and one of their big hits, Baby, Baby, Don't Cry, here in Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. The time, 7:52.
Nothing so blue as a heart in pain. Nothing so sad as a tear in vain. You trusted him and gave him your love, a love he proved unworthy of. Too bad it was him that you trusted. Too bad
Well, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and Baby Baby Don't Cry. It's been a great, great Wednesday show. I want to thank you for being here as part of the internet world of Red's Place. Your support means everything to me, and just your very presence, too. I will be here doing this as long as you want me to. And in case you didn't hear, on November 23rd, 2013, this month, yours truly, Red Kingman, will be going back on the radio, but only in a very limited capacity. My friend and the host of the Morning Grind, Mike Johnson, just set a deal with the radio station in South Haven called Cozy FM. They're at 103.7 on the FM dial, and the Morning Grind is going back on the FM dial beginning that Saturday, and we will. The show runs from 7 a.m. until 8:30. So yeah, just like the article in the Sentinel Red Kingman is going back on the air, but only in a limited capacity. As I said earlier this morning, no one's out there beating my door down to hire me, because a lot of folks are in positions now at radio stations and they're just going to stay put. The economy isn't that much better, and really the only movement that you see in radio stations is kind of on a level that's maybe 2 or 3 levels above me. So when it's God's time, He will place me where He wants. Right now, I know for sure He wants me hosting the internet world of Red's Place Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the morning, and then Tuesday and Thursday in the evening. So far, that Thursday night thing, it hasn't really panned out and turned into a regular thing. It will eventually. But this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm looking forward to being here with you on those mornings, like I said, until the Lord says do something else. So today I'm going to leave you with a song, and I'm hoping this is the song, because in the picture it's showing Jan and Dean and Dead Man's Curve. But the title of the song, it says on the bottom, is Last Kiss by J. Frank Wilson. So let's see what song it is. Either way, I'm out of here. I'll be back with you either Thursday night, but Friday morning for sure, in the internet world of Red's Place on the Lakeshore Disability Network. Have a great day. Okay, I'm still waiting to see what the song is going to be. Hold on here. All right, Jan and Dean or J. Frank Wilson. J. Frank Wilson and Last Kiss. And this is the Last Kiss. I'll see you guys Thursday or Friday.
Well, where, oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. She's gone to heaven, so I got to be good, so I can see my baby when I leave this world.